Coming to you from Annapolis, Maryland, home of the U.S. Naval Academy, the sailing capital of the world, home of the world's largest crab feast, and 4 signers of the Declaration of Independence. This is the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, a daily roundup of local news that you can use, including local sports, local events, local opinion, and local weather from DMV Weather. Now here's your host, publisher of Eye on Annapolis, John Frenaye.
Well, hello, this is John Frenaye, and it is Friday again, October 20th. Once again, a beautiful day, a beautiful weekend ahead of us, so let's get right into it. This is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. Anne Arundel County Police are investigating a stabbing that happened yesterday at 4:30 p.m. in Edgewater that sent a 20-year-old man to shock trauma. Apparently, the victim and the suspects agreed to meet in the 300 block of Mill Swamp Road in Edgewater to fight over a long-standing dispute. During the fight, one suspect produced a knife and stabbed the victim. 2 other suspects alleged to have pushed the victim during the altercation as well. Police have arrested 1 suspect and 2 are still at large. Arrested was Stephen Alfonso of the 4000 block of Muddy Creek Road in Harwood, and still wanted are John David Talbot of the 100 block of Clay Street in Annapolis, and Brandon Lewis Downs of the 400 block of Mill Swamp Road in Harwood, Maryland. In Annapolis crime news, a vehicle that was reported stolen on October 18th in the unit block of Randall Street was recovered in Perry Circle on the U.S. Naval Academy property. The owner of the 2013 Honda Accord apparently had just forgotten where they parked. The car was not stolen. The National Sailing Hall of Fame is considering a move to Newport, Rhode Island from Annapolis, Maryland. The Newport Daily News reports that more than 100 people gathered at City Hall on Wednesday to listen to a pitch by Sailing Hall of Fame President Gary Jobson. He says that the Annapolis, Maryland-based location has been trying unsuccessfully for years to build a museum there. He says they could save a lot of money instead by moving to Newport's waterfront Armory building. Many Newport residents are concerned about what will happen to the current tenants of the Armory building. The city-owned building is currently home to an antiques market, and this comes into opposition to a statement that Jobson made to the Capitol 2 months ago that the Sailing Hall of Fame was not indeed in talks with Newport. Stay tuned to see where this ends up. My bet is on Newport. Not sure if this is a good idea or just a gimmick, but Under Armour is launching a new subscription box service called Armor Box. The service will allow customers to get product recommendations shipped to their house once every 30, 60, or 90 days. They can keep and try the products for a week, pay for what they want, and return what they don't want. Be interesting to see how that one plays out. First you had Tesla, then you had SpaceX, and now you've got the Boring Company. Elon Musk's Boring Company has been granted permission to dig tunnels in Maryland, starting in Anne Arundel County, for a high-speed Hyperloop project, which ultimately aims to transport passengers from Washington to New York City in 29 minutes. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan made the announcement on Twitter yesterday that digging will begin in Maryland, the first state to grant a permit to allow the building of the Hyperloop, which aims to transport passenger pods at rocket speeds in a vacuum-sealed tube. Sounds like we're building a big bank. The Maryland Department of Transportation has granted a conditional utility permit to Musk's tunneling business to dig a tunnel beneath a 10.3-mile stretch of the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, which is owned by the state. The state does not expect to contribute to building of the project, which will be funded entirely by Musk's companies. The Farmer's Almanac and the Climate Prediction Center in College Park are at odds. While the Farmer's Almanac is calling for a little bit more of a snowy winter in the area, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for a mild and not very snowy conditions this winter. They expect a La Nina, a climate pattern that is opposite of El Nino, to develop, and the pattern suggests above average temperatures drier than normal conditions will dominate across the southern United States and up and down the East Coast. Personally, I'd like to see a couple really, really good snowstorms. But that's all speculation. Speaking of weather, we're going to hear from George Young, and he's going to give us the real scoop.
This is Maryland. The weather can be nearly unpredictable. We've got George Young from DMV Weather in Annapolis to sort it all out.
Hey everyone, this is George from DMV Weather. Here's your Annapolis forecast for Friday, October 20th. More of the same for Annapolis and all of Anne Arundel County today through Sunday and even into Monday, with tons of sunshine and warm high temps in the 70s across the entire region, with some spots this weekend seeing mid to upper 70s. For today, we specifically posted a target high temp on our website yesterday in our 4-degree forecast of 72 degrees for downtown Annapolis and 73 degrees for BWI Airport. So let's see how those numbers match up against actual measured temps after the day is over. And we also want to note that we launched a new temperature forecast tool yesterday called the 4-Hour Forecast, which predicts temps every 4 hours for Annapolis, BWI Airport, Dulles Airport, and Washington, D.C. Reagan National Airport. So be sure to check that out each day in our daily forecast. Looking ahead to next week, the expectation is for some rain showers on Tuesday, followed by much cooler temps Wednesday and beyond as another cold front moves through the region. So stay tuned for more updates on this next weather maker, but until then, enjoy the blue skies and warm temps while we have them. Okay, that's it for us today. Be sure to download our free app by searching for DC MDVA Weather in your app store, and also be sure to follow us 24/7, 365 on our website at dmvweather.com or on social media via Twitter or Facebook. This is George Young of DMV Weather with your Annapolis forecast. Enjoy your weekend, and remember, whatever the weather out there, have fun and be safe.
The Eye on Annapolis Daily is possible in part because of the generous support of Ram's Head on Stage. Ram's Head, where every seat is less than 48 feet from the stage, brings more than 400 concerts a year to the area. To wet your whistle, check out some of these upcoming shows leading into Halloween. 10,000 Maniacs on October 22nd. On the 25th, Daryl Sturmer, the lead guitarist of Genesis, brings the music of Genesis and his solo work to Ram's Head. The Laughs continue with 98 Rock's Justin Scott and Spiegel on the 28th with another installment of the Laughs and Drafts comedy series. Dennis Quaid and the Sharks are in on the 30th, and a very special Halloween treat. It's a whodunit comedy murder mystery party on the 31st. Tickets are still available for all of these shows, and you can get yours at ramsheadonstage.com, or if you're feeling old school, head on downtown. Their box office is located in the heart of beautiful downtown Annapolis at 33 West Street, and for a guaranteed great night out on the town, ramsheadonstage.com.
If you're looking for local sports, it's right here, right now on the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief.
Hey everybody, welcome to your Friday edition of Eye on Sports. I'm Kevin Chaney, and we're jumping right into varsity boys soccer, where Broadneck was at Meade. Meade won 6-4. North County at South River won 2-0. Severna Park at Old Mill went into overtime. Severna Park prevailed 1-0. Chesapeake Science was at Western Tech won 4-1. Varsity girls soccer, Broadneck was at Meade. Broadneck won 7-0. Southern at Arundel ended in a tie, 1-1. Severna Park at Old Mill, Severna Park won 4-0. North County at South River held nothing back and won 10-0. Annapolis at Northeast won 2-0. And Chesapeake at Glen Burnie, the Cougars won 10-1. Varsity girls volleyball, Arundel at Southern, Arundel won 3-0. Old Mill at Severna Park won 3-0. South River at North County, South River won 3-0. Northeast at Annapolis won 3-1. And Chesapeake Science at Meade won 3-0. That's it for your Friday edition of Eye on Sports. Enjoy your weekend. I'm Kevin Chaney.
Need to make plans for the weekend? We got you covered. Here are our top picks. Be sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net to sign up for the events newsletter with a listing of all the upcoming area events.
Boy, this weekend is going to the dogs, and that will become clear in a few moments, but let me run down some of my picks for this weekend. Tonight, the Eastport Oyster Boys, the pride of Eastport, will be releasing their latest album at the Stoltz Listening Room down at the Avalon in Easton. If you haven't been over to the Eastern Shore yet, or if you haven't ever been to the Avalon, go check them out. The Eastport Oyster Boys, they are always a lot of fun. Opening tonight at Maryland Hall, you've got the Ballet Theater of Maryland's presentation of Romeo and Juliet. Tickets are still available for tonight's show. They also have shows on Saturday and Sunday. You can get them all at marylandhall.org, and that's where I'm going to be hanging out this evening. Now, I mentioned we were going to the dogs, and Saturday it really gets underway. At 2 p.m. tomorrow, the third annual Corgi Halloween Parade. Who would have thought these dogs were that popular? But there will be several hundred of them meeting at the State House at 2 p.m., and they will parade down to City Dock in various forms of costumes being carried and walking and everything else. Really kind of a fun event to watch. Just a little bit up West Street, also at 2 o'clock, it's Dogtoberfest. It's the Home Brewing Fall Festival at Stage 1, which is the field with the temporary stage at Park Place, which ultimately will be the Maryland Theater for Performing Arts. And this is brought to you by Dogwood Acres Pet Resort and the Annapolis Home Brewing Club. So you're going to have lots of good beer, lots of treats for the dog. There will be food and everything else. That gets underway at 2 p.m. Sunday up at Homestead Gardens, you've got the annual Critter Crawl. And it's not just limited to dogs. Whatever kind of critters you want to bring them out and let them participate in the Homestead Gardens Halloween Parade. That gets underway at 2:30 at their Davidsonville location. Of course, Saturday is Navy's homecoming against UCF at 3:30. Expect lots of traffic around town. And of course, we will be covering that live as the game progresses. Kevin Chaney will be there up in the booth with me. So look for some tweets and some information on that. And looking ahead to Thursday of next week, because it's going to be before our next Friday one, What's Up Magazine is putting on an event at the Annapolis Maritime Museum called Whiskey and Spirits. And if you are a whiskey aficionado, this is the event for you. They've got some very rare, I don't know whether they're called vintages, but they're rare whiskeys that you can taste. Food is included and everything else. You can get your information and tickets at whatsuptix.com, and that's WHATSUPTIX.com. That should be enough to fill your plate. Have a great weekend. The weather looks perfect, and I will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. If you like what you heard, make sure to tell your friends and colleagues about it. And also tell them about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find much more. Be sure to check out our other weekly podcast, The Maryland Crabs. This podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at noon. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.